Good evening, everyone. Rod Wood has the night off. I'm Dan Cummings.
And I'm Peggy Finnegan. Happening tonight, it just doesn't seem like it's been a quarter century, 25 years since President John Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas.
By this time of the night, the disbelief was starting to wear off that day, and the grief was starting to set in. While everyone was touched by the tragedy, there's one of our neighbors who was quite close to the young president, and tonight, 25 years later, his pain is still real, as Central New York remembers Camelot.
President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed here today, period. With no one attending him but physicians and nurses. He died without regaining consciousness or uttering a word.
I must say it was a very, very, very emotional thing to be that close and working that close with somebody and then find out that they had been shot in that manner. It was a reaction of a death of a very close person in your own family.
George Cregg of Camillus is a business consultant today, but in 1959 and 1960, he was among the earliest of Democrats to get the Kennedy bandwagon rolling towards the White House. A young JFK had made his way to Harvard Law School. That's where Cregg and Kennedy first met.
Jack Kennedy in those days was not so much the kind of person that you shot the bull with over football games, because he was interested in discussing the world economy, and perhaps in those days I was a little more interested in having a cocktail and talking about the football game or one of my girlfriends than I was in talking about the world economy.
But within a few years, here in Syracuse, Cregg formed what he claims was the first local Kennedy for President club in the nation.
We contacted John F. Kennedy and decided the first thing we should do was go to Washington and talk to him in his senatorial office, and that's when this picture was taken.
When George Cregg and his Kennedy Club returned from Washington, this is where they set up shop, the Empire Building at 472 South Salina Street. It was the local Kennedy for President campaign headquarters. And even though this was still big Republican territory at the time, Cregg is proud that he helped deliver the city of Syracuse for Jack Kennedy.
Everyone is voting for Jack, 'cause he's got what all the rest lack. Everyone wants to back Jack. Jack is on the right track, 'cause he's got high hopes. He's got high hopes. 1960's the year for his high hopes. Come on and vote for Kennedy.
And that Frank Sinatra campaign song for Kennedy, Peggy, helped the Democrats win that razor-thin victory in 1960. And George Cregg and others who worked so hard for him never could have dreamed at that time what would have happened just 3 years later.
Or, Dan, the effect it would have on an entire world. Thanks for that report.